morning, everybody. I'm Melisa Nielsen with Waldorf Essentials. And this morning we're going to go back into talking a little bit more about being an agent or an object and sort of how we can get out of this space. And my biggest prayer for you is that you realize that you are this divine being and you are so worth not being sort of down in the dumps all the time. I thought I would share a little bit about some of those times in my life and then sort of how I just decided that I needed to be done with that. And I remember I was thinking back on two different holidays. They were both Christmases. One was the Christmas before I got divorced, and one was the Christmas after I got divorced. And how hard those were. Like, just hard. The one before I got divorced because I had 3 little kids. I didn't want to get out of bed in the morning. My husband was just, we were just a mess, a complete mess. He was struggling, but refusing to get help, and I was in a position of needing to try to check him in someplace. It was really hard, and I lived 3 hours away from family, and we were pretty private people. So I only had one friend that sort of knew what was going on, but she didn't know everything. And I just remember feeling really alone, really, really alone. And I had a 4-year-old, a 6-year-old, and an 8-year-old. And my 8-year-old was on the spectrum. and it was hard. I remember just sitting down and just bawling and just thinking, how did I get here? For one, how did the beautiful life that I had dreamed of as a child, and this idea of this beautiful family, and this love that I had for this other being, how did it get from where I had dreamt it to where it is today, or at that time? And I remember thinking, this is not where I want to be. This is not where I want to be, and I'm not going to be here again. And I remember right then just deciding, something has to move. Nothing is going to happen until I make it happen, until I move it, until I move this energy. And at the time I was doing some Leche League coaching, and I was an LC that they contacted when they had families that were struggling. And so I was doing a lot of emotional work, working through some birth trauma with a lot of the moms. And I just decided I was going to apply all of the things that I was working with moms through birth trauma to myself. And I was going to heal the place that I was in and get out of that, because I just didn't want to be there anymore. I didn't want to be in this place where I was completely sad. Now, people who listen to me know I'm a pretty choleric, sanguine person, and so I am super happy by nature generally. But this was a time in my life that if I could ever say I was depressed at that point in time, and I was struggling, and I just didn't know what was coming next. So I thought, all right, well, the only way I'm going to be able to make things move is to actually make some of my own money. And so at that point, so some of you will remember, this was years and years ago, I started making math gnomes. So now you see lots of math gnomes on Etsy. I was the first person that started making math gnomes. I would sell 10 sets at a time on eBay, and I would fill those 10 sets and fill my bank account a little bit, buy supplies, and then put up another 10 sets. And it took me doing that. I did that. Oh, math gnomes paid for my divorce. Math gnomes paid for a lot of things that I needed for me. I got myself into therapy. I got myself into a place where it was safe for me to talk to somebody else about the struggles that I was going through. And I used my ex-husband's insurance at the time, because we were still married and I still had insurance, even though our relationship was really on the rocks. And I went in the very first day that I was there. I had an amazing therapist. The very first day I was there, I sort of laid it all out on the table to the therapist, and he said, I don't think I'm going to be your therapist as you heal your marriage. I think I'm going to be your therapist as you go through a divorce. And I remember thinking, I hadn't even thought of that. And I remember really being very encouraged just by that very first appointment. So first, I want to say, if you are in the spot and you are in the, I don't know how in the heck I'm going to get out of this, how I got in it, I am so depressed I can't get up in the morning, get your butt to a therapist now, like today. Like, don't sit there and argue with the phone that you're watching me on, and that you don't have the money, or you can't afford it, or you can't figure out who to call, or you don't know who's going to watch your kids. Make the first move. You have to make that first step. Make the first move, and even if you don't know who's going to watch your kids, I just say you make the first move and you say, God, I need to go to this appointment. Find me somebody to watch my kids. And trust that the universe will have it appear for you, or something will happen. Something will move and shift so that you can make it to this appointment, or that you can get the help that you need. Stop saying to yourself, this can't happen, because then it can't happen. If you believe it can, it can. If you believe it can't, it won't. That's the law of the universe. It's just how it works. So if you believe in yourself and you believe that you can make these changes, then you can make them. And so then I, fast forward a year to the next Christmas. I had made it through my divorce. In a year, I had decided, by February, after that Christmas where I was really low, by February, I just had been going to therapy a little bit, and I was like, okay, I have to be done. And not everybody, obviously not everybody, and I'm not a proponent of divorce. I'm not. Remember, at my birthday, on my birthday, which my birthday's in February, early February, February 2nd. Remember that. It's coming. I'm just teasing. So I remember on my birthday thinking, I'm never going to be in this place again. I had made these decisions at December. So what's my next step? So for me, that was getting ready to get a divorce. And so by September, I had gotten a divorce, and I was living in my own space with my kids, and I had shared custody, half and half, which was really hard, but it was a step from where I was. So depression-wise, I was feeling in control of at least what was going on in my little sphere. And of course, I could not control what was going on with my kids when they were with their dad, but I could control what was going on in my little house. I could control how I spent money. I could control the heater. I could control everything because it was mine. I didn't have to fuss or ask anybody for permission. And that was, it was this huge eye-opening thing to me, because I am a feminist and this empowered woman. And then how in the heck did I get to this place where I was disempowered, and I was exhausted, and I was upset. And so it was this journey that took, about a year of almost a year of going to therapy and getting into a good place. And that therapist would help me then, like, down the road, and I didn't even know it, in other situations with my ex-husband. So find yourself somebody good, and then stick with that person, and really work with, even if you can't afford all of your appointments, ask them, I need help, and I need some, can I get a discount if I pay cash? Can I, do the things that you need to do? Can I work in your office? Do the things that you need to do to sort of get that help that you need, and be willing to think open, to be open to things that you may not be thinking of. I think one of the biggest things when we're trying to make change is we ask the universe for something. God, I need this. Source, I need this. And then we go, oh, but I only want it to come through this avenue. So you have to sort of let go of where that's going to come from. You sort of put it out there. You've asked. And I absolutely believe when we ask, it is given. But we have to sort of get into alignment with that space. So if somebody says to you, hey, I can watch your kids. Will you watch mine? Will you trade with me? Then you go, oh, well, that maybe wasn't what I was thinking about. But sure, I'll trade with you one day a week if you'll trade with me while I go to therapy. Or if the therapist says, you know what, I really need somebody to help me with some filing. Could we trade part of your therapy appointment for some filing? Be open to how you can get it. I have this great friend. Hi, Debbie. This great friend that went through a divorce a couple of years ago. And because she was super open, I mean, she's an amazing lady. Because she was super open, she's never struggled. She's never struggled. She's always had somebody help her. And it wasn't because she was begging that she needed help. She just said, well, these are the needs that I have. And people have come in so many ways to sort of help her and her kids. And she had more kids than I did. So be open to sort of where you need to go. Hopefully that means you get to keep your family unit together and you're going to stay with your partner and you're going to move forward together. That's the ideal, is that you can move forward together. So again, fast forward to the next Christmas. The next Christmas was my first Christmas without my kids. When we got divorced, he got the first year. And I remember at Thanksgiving thinking, oh, this is going to be hard. But then I decided, you know what? It's not going to be hard. I'm probably going to be sad on Christmas Day, and I was, but because of the way we wrote things, I always got St. Nicholas, so St. Nicholas has always been huge in our house. All of the Waldorf festivals, I wrote them into my divorce, that every Waldorf festival was mine, and he didn't care. He just didn't care. Every Waldorf festival was mine, and so we had that December, we had St. Nicholas, and we had St. Lucia, and we had the winter solstice. The winter solstice was our Christmas for the longest time. We did all of our stuff on that day because that was a day that I could just always guarantee that I was going to be with my kids. And it was amazing. We made amazing traditions around those things. And so I remember standing at that point going, wow, I have come a long way in a year. And I've got places I want to go and things I want to do. And so I kept motoring forward. And so my encouragement to you right now is, if you're in that spot where all you want to do is hop on Facebook and complain, my life sucks, what am I going to do? Or, I just, everything. My kids are not behaving. I can't figure out how to get my life going with 3 preschoolers and a toddler. Stop. You have options. You have options and you have things that you can do. So, I'm a big planner. That's like a big thing for me. And people will say to me, I don't plan because I like to be spontaneous. Well, guess what? I'm just going to try to blow your mind here for a minute. When you plan, you have the opportunity to be more spontaneous in a better way than you could ever without a plan. Here's why. When you have a plan, you sort of deviate off of it, it's still there. So you can bungee yourself right back. And when you bungee yourself right back, then you are not messing with your rhythm. You are not messing with your dinner menu. You're not messing with school. You're not messing with all those things because you can go, hey, and we've done this. I think I feel like it's a Disneyland day. So we sometimes decide that at breakfast. We get in the car and we go. And there's lessons that we're not doing that day. But guess what? They'll be there tomorrow. So get into a place where you are willing to do the planning. So if you're a mom that's got 3 little kids and a toddler and your house is a complete wreck, I want you to step back after you're done watching this video and I want you to go, what can I do right now today? And part of that needs to be getting your kids to help you. And I don't care if they say no. It's not an option in our house. Unfortunately, I think that when we are attached parents, sometimes we fall into a permissive trap. So if you're in this trap, guess what, Mom? You're the only one who can get you out of it. You are the only one who can say, you know what, the buck stops with me. I'm done. And I have said that to my kids. I have said, you know what? I have been a little too lenient. I'm done. And they go, oh crap, she's serious. All of them do. They go, oh, all right. What do you want us to do? Please don't yell. So, and usually I don't have to. I'm Italian and so I'm a yeller, but I haven't had to yell in a long time because I do a lot of self-control work on that. And I just, I just don't. I don't yell anymore. And one of my comments says, no is all I hear. Permissive trap. Yep. So you just go, I'm sorry that you don't want to do that right now. We're going to clean your room. Get up off your fanny right now. We're moving. And I generally, parents will say, well, do you have to spank or do anything like that? No, you don't. I would say that across the board, I'm a non-spanking mom. Does that mean I've never spanked? Of course not. Doesn't mean I've never spanked. But that's not my ideal, and that's not my goal. And I can't remember the last time I spanked. It's been a long time. It's not something that I aspire to in my discipline with my kids. I aspire to have kids that come along with me because I'm the example. So here's the deal, Mom. You can't say, go clean your room if you're sitting in front of the computer. You can't say, go clean your room if you're not willing to get up off the couch and do some moving around yourself. Kids will imitate you, and that is like a huge slap in the face, I know. But you're creating what you're wanting. And if you don't want that, then stop creating it. So one of my favorite things that Wayne Dyer said in one of his talks was, if I gave you $1 million and I told you to go and spend it on things you want, but instead you went and spent it on things you hated, I would call that insanity. Well, exactly. That's exactly what you're doing with your energy. Take your energy and put it towards things you want. So do you want a clean house? Get up off your butt and get moving. You got a 2-year-old that dumps everything out. So when Sam was, because there's a 5-year gap between Sam and Ellie. So I had stair steps. I had like 5, 7, 9. And then I had Sam. And Sam would get into that place where, and I'm sure you know it, when every book on your bookshelf is pulled off by the toddler. Or at the time I would have baskets of like puzzles and blocks, and he would dump them all out. So I would pair a different big kid with Sam every day. And I had it signed out on we had a chore list, and I had who was paired with Sam every day. And what that meant was every mess he makes, you must help him clean up. And that probably is going to mean that for a long time, you're going to be the one cleaning it up. But somebody cleaned up after you when you were 2, so you're going to help clean up after him. So we did this like rotation thing with him. And then by the time he was 3, he was helping clean up. So for a while, it was like this game where you put the books on the shelf, I pull the books off the shelf. You put the books on, and I pull them off. So, and that was okay for a while. Sometimes when we were doing school, whoever was paired with him would be like, please, Samuel, please don't pull all the books off the shelf while I'm in my lesson. But he would do it anyway. And then, it would be this sort of funny deal, and everybody would help to clean it up. So figure out ways that you can pair your kids up together with chores. That being said, don't put kids together that, like, you would say on a bad day hate each other. Don't do that. Like, I would never assign 2 kids to the laundry that I knew would either play the entire time they were in the laundry room or fight the entire time they were in the laundry room. So be strategic about how you place things in your chores, but make them happen. My kids do chores from the time they're 4 and 5 years old. And they may be little things like helping me unload the dishwasher, or sweeping as I sweep with their teeny little broom, or wiping down the table, but they do chores because we are a family, and in a family, everybody works together. I'm not going to break my back working for everybody in this house if they're not going to help me. So, and they've tested me, and they know that that's true because I just won't. I will absolutely, and I have before, just washed dishes for myself and just made food for myself. And they'll be like, oh, wait a minute, this lady won't feed us unless we help her. Yep, I won't. We're all going to work together. So get up off the couch and get your body moving. If your house is a mess, get it cleaned up. There is absolutely zero reason for you to be living in a squalor, in a mess, there's zero reason. If you have money to pay for your phone, then you have money to go and buy Windex or make your own. Yep, you do. I said that, didn't I? Go do it. There's no reason why you can't get some Comet or take some baking soda and make it yourself. Clean your house up. And it's really what needs to happen. The worst times, like for me, and all of us have our triggers, but my trigger is a messy house. It's a huge trigger for me. Huge. So guess what? I don't let my house get messy because I know how I feel about that. The people around me who love me know that I am not a nice person when my house is a mess. So when I go, hey, Monday's cleaning day, they're like, uh-huh, yeah, because they know that I'll get crazy if that doesn't happen. And it's not pretty, and they don't like that. So, hello, tea bag. Excuse me. So anyway, get up and get moving on cleaning your house. Now, there's a difference between dirt and clutter. So, and if you're in the clutter place and you've been, I love it when people say to me, "Well, my house is a mess, but I'm decluttering." I'm going, "Sorry, that does not. You need to clean your sink, clean your bathroom, clean your floors, get those things done, then work on decluttering. Those things need to be done like on a regular basis, like once or twice a week. More than that, if you have a lot of kids. And here's a tip: moms that have boys, put the boys to work on the toilet because they're the ones that make the biggest mess around the toilet. So, scrubbing around the toilet, always my boys. Um, Even now, always my boys. So, I'm not the one who makes that mess. So, scrub around the toilet. I think that if you can decide, hey, I don't want to live like this anymore. I don't want to feel like this. You got to decide though, because otherwise you're just deciding to live like that. You're deciding to be unhappy. And I'm not discounting depression. I'm not discounting anxiety. I'm not discounting any of that. But not doing anything is making a decision by default. You do not have that luxury of doing that as a mom. You just don't. You chose to bring these kids here. You're choosing to homeschool them. In a lot of cases, you're choosing to, be this attached parent. You need to step up, get up off the couch or out of the bed or off the chair or wherever it is that you feel like you need to hide. And I know I'm pretty in your face today, and I love you all. So many families that we work with, I love you. And I am sorry for being a little gruff, but nothing's going to happen if you don't get up. Nothing. You're going to be sitting there tomorrow wondering again why your life sucks. And it doesn't suck. It doesn't suck. It doesn't. Life is amazing. Stand in the sun today. I don't care if you got 5 feet of snow. When we lived in Idaho and Utah, man, I hated the winter. Oh, so hard. I hated it. But my shining moment was that usually, at least once a day, once a day, there was some sun somewhere, and I was determined to find it. And so I was out there. Stand in it. Bundle yourself up and stand in the sunshine. You've got to get out of the place that you're in, because even if you're fighting depression, you're still going to be fighting it if you don't do anything. And honestly, now this is going to sound really mean. It's not. I promise it's not. But I want you to listen. If you're not doing anything, you're not actually fighting depression. You're just being depressed. So fighting depression means you fight. You get up and you do something about it. And you don't sit there and decide that the life is doing it to you, because it's not. Be an agent. Stop being an object. You're not a chair or a table or a plate or something that has something done to it. You're a mom. Get up. Get up and be this amazing person that I know you can be. And have a good time. And some other people have said to me, oh, I just can't get in the holiday spirit. That happens to a lot of people. A lot of people. Like, I don't know if any of you follow my husband on Facebook. You might not want to. It's kind of fun. But so a few weeks ago, he put this meme on his that he found that was it was like a cartoon, and it was people talking about December all around him, and on the cartoon, the guy was like just putting a heart around like December 15th, which is the day that Rogue One comes out. So that's what he's really looking forward to in December. And Ellie says to him, "You're not looking forward to the birth of our Savior?" And Eric says to her, "Well, he wasn't really born in December, so no." So that's how things go in our house. But if you're really struggling getting in the spirit, then the best way to stop feeling crappy about yourself is to serve somebody else. And I'm not talking about people that live in your house. I'm talking about truck your butt down to the soup kitchen and serve some homeless people. Make sandwiches and give them to the homeless that you see on the street. Buy some things for a less fortunate family that can't afford Christmas dinner. There's so many things that you can do. There's other really simple things. So we're doing this thing with through Mormon.org, where every day in December is like an Advent calendar, and there's a different message for every day. And most of them are really simple. Like, they're like, Jesus honored his father and mother. How do you honor your father and mother? Call your parents. Say hi. Tell them you love them. Send them a text. you know, in my kids, I tell them the best thing you could do to serve other people is to just smile at them when you're out. When you're out, you're shopping with dad or you're going to the library with dad, smile at the people um, that are helping you. And Samuel came home last week and he said, Mom, I wanted to tell you, I smiled at 4 people and I held the door open for 3 people. And he was like super excited about it. You've got to get yourself into that place of serving other people. When you serve other people, because like when we sort of whine, pretend this is a mirror. You're like looking at yourself in the mirror. You know what? When you serve other people, you turn them around and you look at other people. You're not looking at yourself so much. Stop looking at yourself and look at other people. Get up and get out and serve somebody. And maybe you're just doing something like make some cookies for the old lady that lives across the street. Or if she's an old lady and nobody goes to visit, go over there and ask her if she wants to make cookies with you. Go visit those people. Check out the people that live around you and just serve somebody else, because when you serve somebody else, you're not going to sit depressed about yourself. So anyway, that's my message today. I hope that you can sort of step outside yourself and feel good about yourself. And if you're really struggling with depression, remember, fight it. You got to fight it. Either if you're on the natural route, get some natural stuff in you. There's so many awesome herbs out there and oils out there that can so help you. If you're on the medication route, take your drugs, take your medication, move it. Come on. This is an awesome time of year and you're an awesome person. So make something happen and have a good week. Bye now.